Good day, everyone. Just gonna check to make sure the audio is good. Hope everyone is having a good day. I apologize for yesterday. I was having issues with the tools, with the VPN. Seems like everything was dying on me yesterday, so I figured instead of having a troubleshooting session, would be waiting until today to actually have this going. Seems like we do have audio. Perfect. I hope everyone's in a good mood. Today we're gonna have a pretty solid content. We're gonna be hacking intelligence. It's an Active Directory box, a Windows Active Directory. Now, for those who don't know me, my name is Tony Roy. I also go by the name or handle Psycho, which is a short for Psycho Slave. I am an EGPT certified. I hold a couple of Microsoft and Barracuda certification as well. I'm an old Nortel certified telecom specialist, so one of the last breed to be certified. To be fair, uh, right now I'm working still on the HackTheBox Certified Bug Bounty Hunter, the CBBH. If you haven't looked at that one, I suggest you do. It's a very intense challenge. Um, especially if you're working a lot like I am. So, but not to justify my my failure of having achieved it or passed the exams yet. It's just noting, essentially. Um, and we're still looking for volunteers, presenter, organizer, moderator, designer. Um, if you think you could do a stream, hit me up. What we do is we'll usually have a test run. Um, just gonna be you and me. Um, and once you feel comfortable, then we'll go from there. Basically, we'll set up a date and we'll let the community know and go from there. Um, I mean, I'm also looking for people who are looking to do write-ups. Essentially, it seems like lately I've been doing the write-ups the day of, and sometimes I'm having issues finishing the write-up in time. So either I'm streaming late or having to delay the stream for a day or two. So um, I'll try to be less sloppy in the future. Definitely, it's not something that we want to do. Um, and let's let's proceed. So next month, I was looking to run Windows, an easy Windows box named Bastion. Um, I don't think we've done this one. No, we haven't done this one before. So that's the one we're looking to do next month. I'm not quite sure of the date, but I'll communicate the date with you guys by the end of the week, this week. And I'll try to have the write up done by next week, so that way we'll be set up for September. No more of these impromptu rescheduling, let's put it that way. Um, so let me just put up the intelligence box here. Just before I was going live, I was looking which box I was perhaps looking to do. I had fun on this Windows box, so it's gonna be a whole lot of fun. I hope you guys will like it. So without further ado, I'm just gonna let the box spun up here. Um, So I hope everyone is okay with me doing a Windows box. I'm a little bit less custom. I mean, I'm very familiar with Linux, but I think doing those Windows box kind of help me learn a little bit more. So perfect. The box is spun up. So enough rantling, enough of me giving you gibberish. Let's get to the fun part. Awesome. So like I said, today we're looking at to be doing intelligence. It's a box that's been done that was released on July 3rd last year by Mika, and this box has challenged a little bit my knowledge on Active Directory. To be fair, um, I think it might challenge yours as well. A little bit of your sanity too with the tools. Some of the tools were playing hard to get or hard to play with. You'll see later on. One of them is even still giving me trouble, but um, at least the error it's giving me, I know it's because it's hitting a positive account, so the password's working. So that's one thing. At least we can work with that. Um, so if you're trying to get better on Microsoft AD, I think this box brings the opportunity and also serve the purpose well. If you're doing everything right and you're getting an error, some errors, I suggest you might check with your time. Sometimes with AD, you need your time to be synced to the domain controller. Um, so the skills are going to be required to do the box. I mean, I've laid out IDOR, so insecure direct object reference. Essentially, that's how we're going to be accessing some PDF that gets us initial access. So basically, um the creator of those PDFs or Windows logins or Windows users, and from those users, we're able to. Well, in one of the PDF, it also gives us the password, so we're able to do some password spraying and find an account that still had the same password. Um, I mean, with that, I would suggest that you know a little bit of what EXIF data is, because that's where you're going to get the usernames from. A little bit of scripting experience wouldn't hurt. I mean, if you don't, it's not a huge deal, because basically, it will take you a little bit longer to achieve the box or to hack it, but still totally doable without any scripting experience. Now, perhaps where a little bit of scripting experience might help is when you hit that PowerShell script that you need to read. Um, Again, I wouldn't consider myself a PowerShell wizard. Um, but I can dabble some scripts definitely. And again, I mean, definitely Active Directory knowledge. You need to understand how it works. The tools you'll need to do this box, the good old Nmap, um, Zap or Burp. I think it's easier. It's not a requirement, but I think it's easier at first just to visualize and picture everything. Um, Metasploit or some kind of responder. I used Metasploit because responder wasn't working for me like at all. I even went and compiled Python 3.8 yesterday. That didn't work for me. It wouldn't work at all. So, I mean, at some point I was even like trying to rewrite the script for the sake of the boxes, but I think that was beyond the purpose of this assignment. more or less. I mean, I think I want to share the knowledge. I want to share how you guys can do it. I don't want to be basically like hacking the scripts so they can work correctly or do whatever I want with them. I used CrackMac exec. I used also a script from a couple of script from KRB Relay X, um, and that basically helps us to set up the DNS host and get Ted's password. I also use the GMSA dumper that once we get Ted's account, they were able to get the service account hash, and then we use the through the journey we use Impacket tools. So if you're not familiar with Impacket tools, I definitely recommend that you get familiar with it. It's a very good tool to be familiar with. Now let's kickstart with our enumeration. The box should be up by now. I've rambled a little bit. And right away we're seeing a whole lot of ports hitting, and like right off the bat we're able to tell like this kind of looks like a LDAP, like a Active Directory setup. Sorry, and should be done, almost done here. Saying we're able to see right here the domain of the box. So I mean, from that we're able to guess what domain the box is serving, more than likely. Um, so we got the FQDN, and we're just waiting on the Nmap to finalize, to eventually tells us that we have a web page. So I'll just pin up Firefox and just go to 10, 10, 10, 248. Oh, turn off the proxy because I don't have that on right now. And basically that's what we're greeting with. Greeted with. So intelligence, a little bit of latent nonsense. Um, Possibly like a username here. We can see we can download documents. So um, usually these don't work in these type of scenarios, so I kind of skip right over them. But this here kind of drew my attention. Right. Oh, sorry. And so what I did right away is I spun up Zap. So I mean, it can be Zap, it can be curl, it can be whatever you're familiar with. Over here, just basically to enumerate um, what are what documents basically. So Zap is just loading up here. So it asks us whether we want a persistence. I don't want a persistence at this time. Now, I'll need to refresh that page. And if you're running Zap like me, oh, it would help if I turn on the Zap proxy. And if you're running Zap in protected mode, you'll need to right click, include in context, and just include in the default context. Just so, otherwise it won't do any attacks on it. And see all these pages here, but what we're trying to get is one of these documents here. So we click on the document, we're getting all these latent nonsense. But if we go back over here, that's what we wanted over here. So what we'll do is we right click attack. We're going to go to fuzz. And over here, I mean, I wonder if there's other documents. So the first thing I went is I'll add this, put it as numbers, and this is a month, so 1 to 12. But then I realized I needed the months to be 01 to 09. So what I did is instead of doing it like this, I just went and put it to string. And I did a little bit of the lame way if you want. I could have wrote a script or whatever, but this actually worked fine for me. And it's just like 10 numbers, so it's not like you're doing like 2,000 of them. So I do the same thing over here for the days. I go to number, put 1 to 31, just 31 possible days in a month. I just copy that again, go back to strings, paste this in here, and I'll just put zeros again. Oh. Preferably in front of the numbers. All right. So that once that's been added, we can just kickstart our fuzzer. Shouldn't take too long at all. It's gonna be pretty quick. You can just look at this. We click on the reason, so basically put all these OKs together. And like we're not sure which ones of these basically. So I wouldn't recommend you do like I did. So what I did is I selected all the OKs, right click, and I went open in browser. I'm actually streaming right now, so that kind of lagged my machine for a little bit. And yeah, I'm not going to do that. So essentially, I think the documents was on June 4th here. So if I right click on it and I view in Firefox, perfect, that's the one we're looking for. And there was another one, I think it's on December 31st. I don't see December 31st as being one, so I think it's perhaps December 30th. Oh, yeah, it is. I had opened it in the wrong browser. Firefox. And here it is. So essentially, this gives us a little bit of Easter egg of what's to come. So internal IT update. There have been some recent outage on our web servers, and Ted has gotten a script in place to help notify us if this happens again. Also, after discussion, following recent security audit, we're in the process of locking down service accounts. Well, perhaps there's a way to get to a service account here. So let's keep this in mind. And let's see the other document. So, new account guide. Welcome to Intelligence Corp. Please log in using a username and default password of new Intelligence Corp user 9876. After login, please change your password as soon as possible. Well, perhaps one of the users hasn't done that. I mean, from here, I basically wondered quite a bit before I figured. Um, I mean, I got the password, but how do we get the username? So I figured if there's a way that I could basically download all these files basically from the if I could download all these files like all these PDF. So that probably be so I wrote those scripts here. Star message. So pull, and I'll run down what the script actually does. And like I said, I mean that's something you could, even if you didn't know how to script, you could go into Zap and basically click on every single one of them, like open it in this and right click save page as, and you can basically save every single of one of them. You could get to the same point, but on a stream it's just not that effective. And so essentially what I did is I wrote this just a little bash script. It just basically it gets to so I set up the date because I've saw that the first document was basically January 1st, 2020. So I figured since I wanted to capture January 1st, I would start to December 30, December 31st of the previous year, so 2019. And then just for the heck of it, I don't want to like count and miss a day or whatever, so I just added 400 days. So, and what this does here is basically date is able to tell just the date of the system, but if you tell it like plus y, like percentage uppercase y, that's basically the year. Um, and now I need like the month, and I also need the day, right? Um, Not a dollar sign, but a percentage sign. And now let's say I want this date, like 2019, but I want to have, I don't know, like 10 days. Okay, and 11 days, right? You get the point. So essentially, that's what I'm doing over here. It's just I'm just enumerating all the dates, and I'll be putting that into a file. So if I run this script here, um, so I run dates, and I just push all the all the output to a file called dates. That's what I'm looking at here. Oh, so just a file of basically all the dates from like the 31st of December 2019 up until like 400 days later, whatever that is, like somewhere in March or February, right? So now I have those. I've also wrote another script. I mean, it, I didn't want. I can write complex script like, but that wasn't the purpose. So now that I have this basically dates file here, like all these dates, I can feed it to a script. They'll just download everything that's valid. Like if it's not valid, it simply won't pull it. So if I just exit out of here and I run the pull, and I guess last time I had a different name for the date file, but it doesn't really matter. I just basically uh, give it the name of the date files, and I do this over here, it's just gonna take a second. And we see it's downloading all these PDFs, like every single of them. Should be almost done. If we're looking over here, we have a bunch of PDFs, right? Yeah, to be fair, actually, he saves the PDF with curl. It actually saves the PDF even though you don't have it. So what I did is I created a folder named PDFs, and I just moved all the stars PDF into PDF, basically. So I'm left with this over here. So I did my head map. I have my PDF folders and my poll and my dates in my date file. So from here, I figure, well, if I look at the EXIF data of one of those PDF, um, let's take a look at 2019, right? And then I realized, well, this one doesn't exist. So, but let's go to, I think January 1st, 2020 was a good one. See, and we got this creator field here. So, I mean, what we can do is we can exif all this PDF star, and we're going to grep creator, right? So that gives us a list of everything. Now, what we want to do is we want to remove, like, we only want the name, so we're going to cut and set up our delimiters to a colon, and we want the second field of it. So we want this part over here. So that give us that, but there's the trailing space up front. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna call tr, and the delimiter is over this. So it basically just removes the space surrounding it. Now we want to unique it, so just basically one of these guys, right? We don't need doubles, and we're going to pipe this to a user file. It'll take a second to run, and we got our users. Perfect. Now, from those users, we basically need to find out which of them possibly have the account, right? So here we're going to use crackmac.exec. That's where we're going to use this tool. So crackmap.exec, and we want to use it in the LDAP department. See, it's already all pre-populated for us, but I'm just going to run down what the arguments are. So basically, we want to do an LDAP. So crackmap.exec basically tries to log in with the accounts we're providing it. The IP address of the DC, or the domain controller, is 10.10.10.248, and the domain is intelligence. Now, something I have to mention here is that you have to make sure that your OS files would hit. Oh man, can't type tonight. All right. So you need to make sure that this over here, this part, is actually there. So you want the DC and you want the intelligence. Perfect. So now we're sure we have those in. So the users, we want the users. We just created the user file. The password we got from our PDF over here. And the KDCOS is basically that's the domain controller. It's not always the domain controller. It's the host that's allowed to basically serve tickets. If I'm right, I'm a noob a little bit with Active Directory. So if we run that tool here, it gives us this couple of errors, and then eventually, once we hit the right account for whatever reason, um, we get this. So the last account we see over here that it checked was Richard. So if we ran cat on users and we want to grep whatever's after Richard, well, we can check if it's David McBride, but David's over here, right? Because that's so David McBride is there, but the only person we don't see in over here is Tiffany Molina. So just to prove that we actually have the right account, we're able to run the SMB client. So whatever you're comfortable with, I'm comfortable with the SMB client, so I'm just gonna run that. Uh, with Tiffany Molina as the user, the password is new intelligence corp user 976 9876, and we're just gonna try to map the users folders. And basically, if we do a DR, we can see that we have access to the users folder. So we can probably just go in Tiffany's folder, go to our desktop, and right over here, we're able to get the user.txt, which is our first flag. Welcome back, guys. I hope the audio is still good. I'm just gonna look up on the side here and make sure it is. I'll know in a second or two. So hope you guys went for a break, went for a glass of water or something. Because we're in for a little bit of action here. All right, the audio is fine, perfect. So just over here, let me bring back the screen here. So over here basically is what I wanted to do before I went with the share. I should have did the -L just to essentially list the share. So -L. Pretty confident it's a -L. Let me check the document. Is basically there's a way to list the shares. Yeah, I did it. That's why I write the document. I don't even know why I write it because I don't even follow it most of the time. I write it for most of the for you guys, I guess, because I write this in case there's stuff I want to show in particular, and this time I kind of missed it. So if you do the -L and then the IP address with the SMB client, what it does is it will list all the share this user has access to. Now, this user had access to the user share. So users is usually just the user directory. So that'll give you access to your folder, the users folder. And basically that's why I went straight to that. But one that's a little bit less particular is this IT folder here. So that kind of caught my attention. So if we scroll up, go back to here and do IT, and we do a DRI, where we're getting this down detector. So if we get that, and that's where I was saying, like a little bit of PowerShell basically helps you in this case here, um, just to be able to work out what these commands are actually doing. Um, and in this case, what it does is imports the Active Directory module. So like that module lives on an AD server, like on on-prem. Otherwise, you have it's a different. It's Azure AD, I think, the module name. Then it goes through all these records, like in the AD, every record that listed under this like path here, and it looks for object that starts with web. So if we can read this correctly, I mean, even if we don't know a whole lot of AD or a whole lot of PowerShell, it kind of tells us like Microsoft DNS, DNS domain zone, intelligence.htb. So it kind of tells us like this. It looks for a DNS record in the zone here. And then what it does, it sends a request with what appears to be default credentials. And then from that, it sends an email to Ted, and from Ted to Ted. So, well, that's kind of interesting. If only we had a way like to set up like send DNS requests. Well, we actually do, but just before we go on to that, let's set up because we're gonna need a listener. So let's set up a Metasploit. So we're gonna use Metasploit for that, and the listener we want to be using. Perfect. So I guess I didn't properly shut it down last time. So we want to be using an auxiliary, and it's I have it listed here. So it's server. Oh. um, Scroll right back down. I pressed backspace on the wrong thing and I was erasing actually in the document. Which is not a good thing because later on I'll be revisiting this document and say, well, how come it's missing half of it? Server, once we're into server, we want to capture, and then if we check HTTP, we're HTTP and then NTLM. That's probably the one we want, just because um, I think this is more likely a LTLM NTLM request. So we're just gonna show options. Um, we're gonna set the John password file to be credentials, just creds. The server also set server OS. We're at 10.10.14.3. Server port is port 80, and set the URI path is just slash, right? And that's what we want. Just gonna run this. Server started. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna over here have some tools. KRP relay. So I have this. It's in my document. And basically we need this tool here to be able to send ourselves or set up. So the syntax is basically like this. Like it requires the username, so we need to set it up intelligence, and that's the command